Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Bold You, a show that is dedicated to inspiring everybody out there, and yes, I'm talking to you, to play bigger, be bolder, which means you got to step out of your comfort zones so you can become the best version of yourself. And the reason that we need to do that is because we live in a world where there is a war between good and evil, and the only way evil wins is when good people like you and like me and like all the incredible people out there, when we just don't do enough. And I know that each and every one of us can do so much more. It's just, we got to make sure that we hook our arms to the right people so we can do that. And I am telling you, our guest today is definitely one of those great people that you need to lock arms with, and Miss Robin Hebert. How are you?
Well, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're so excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
doing good.
Not only is Robin amazing and you're going to fall in love with her, but she's also a very dear friend of mine, and we kind of do life together, and we do work together, and we have a ton of fun. And she is a holistic interior designer, and our topic today is really enhancing your personal life by enhancing your personal space. And we know how important that is. But before we get into that, Robin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I consider myself a native Texan. I grew up in Austin, and I've been here in Dallas for a long time. I'm married. I had a corporate career for a very long time in the fashion industry as a fashion industry executive. I decided to make a change in the past 5 years of my life, and I went back to school and opened an interior design business.
And you do a great job doing
Thank
that.
you.
But you know what? Tell a little bit about why you got out of the corporate scene, because that's very impactful. And I know that there are plenty of people that are in similar situations that potentially could learn and take some really good advice from your story.
Thanks. I got sick. I got cancer, and it really was a life-changing element in me. I think that I began to focus while I was healing on the effects of our environments on our well-being in general, our health and our mental well-being as well. So it was the nudge I needed to leave what I think could have been, what just really became not the best environment for me anymore. And I really wanted to focus on helping other people live in and work in the spaces that are best for their mental and physical well-being.
Now, how long were you in corporate America?
Oh, a very long time. I was a vice president of a clothing company here in Dallas in the wholesale industry. And that was for 18 years. And that's what brought me to Dallas, in fact. So I had been in the fashion industry since I graduated from college in the mid-'80s. So that's a long time to be in a corporate job.
And how long ago has it been since you had gotten sick?
It's been 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. And I left my job about 5.5 years ago. Shortly thereafter, I was laying in bed and I was healing.
Right.
And I was looking out. My house is not, you've been to my home.
Right.
It is not a mansion by any means. It's lovely and it's decorated very beautifully, and it made me feel very grateful as I was healing in this space and looking out at my pool. And I couldn't go outside all summer, and it really took me down, but I felt so blessed to have this great space to be in, and felt fortunate. And I wanted other people to feel that way too. It was very conducive for my healing. I don't think it's necessarily, what resonates with me is having better experiences in your space, in your workspace,
right,
and your living space, more than stuff in your space. And when you have the right experiences in your space, the right stuff then comes into play.
Right.
So I felt really fortunate, and that was really the impetus for
you,
making a change, a big change.
I mean, what I think one of the things that we talk about all the time between the two of us is how important you feel And you've got to feel confident. You've got to be confident. You have to feel successful to be successful. You have to have wins to win. And the environment that you put and place yourself in, it does make an impact on how you feel about yourself. And so I think, isn't it interesting how you get cancer, you're at home, you're in that position. I mean, you had a great corporate gig going on, and I know you loved it, but you kind of have to reevaluate your life when things happen. And when you were reevaluating your life, you were looking around and saying, you know what, this environment that I've created has made a tremendous impact on your healing process. And then at what point did you say, you know what, this is so impactful, I think I want to do this for other people?
I went back to work after being off work for about 8 weeks, and I went back to work, and I just realized that I needed to make a change, because that was when you get away from a space and you really get to, sometimes,
right, exactly. That's so true.
Sometimes absence doesn't make the heart grow fonder, but it actually opens your eyes a little bit bigger.
Right.
And so I realized once I came back to work, I took a look around. I worked in a warehouse, and I had a great job. I just didn't feel like the warehouse was very, and the environment was, just wasn't inspiring anymore. And I wanted to be inspired and inspire other people. And it was just time for a change.
And you know what? And this is, I think, when you say sometimes absence doesn't make the heart grow fonder. I mean, I know that even sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship or you're in a toxic environment and you're around toxic people, and you get used to it. You get that's your norm. And not to say that you were in a toxic environment at all, I'm not saying that, but for people though, you're in an environment where you really shouldn't be in, because when you leave, you're not being lifted up. But you get used to that feeling, whatever that feeling is. If you're running away from something, if you detach yourself in certain environments or in certain relationships, you get used to that, and it is what it is. And it's when you get out of that environment that you say, hold on a second, I don't think I like being in that environment. And you do, and you should make a change. And I'm so grateful that you did make a change, because that change, how long until you decided after you had returned to work that, you know what, I'm going to leave?
It was really shortly thereafter. It was in about 3 months. I lost my dad shortly after losing my left kidney. I had kidney cancer, and that's often caused by stress or subject to a toxic something.
So
we don't know. I didn't fit any risk factors, so we don't really know. Inevitably, it was the nudge I needed to make a real change in my life. So I was gone within 6 months of all of that, and my husband and I own a plumbing company. And so I just dove in initially there to make up my income, and then decided to go back to school. And I have a CID, I'm a certified interior decorator. And then I went back and took a design psychology class, and I took a holistic environment class, and pulled it all together and opened my interior design business in 2014.
So what I love is this holistic approach. And, it makes sense, because that's the world in which we live right now. Now, not everybody is holistic. I mean, I get that. But explain to the viewers what a holistic designer is.
Well, it is, and it marries the function and design principles, certainly, and with psychological, physical, emotional, and lifestyle. So when you can pull all that together, then you feel the importance is on the experience of your space more than the stuff in your space, like I had said earlier.
Right. Okay. I love that. And that makes sense to me, because how many times I know this is not my specialty. This isn't my area. In fact, it's funny, because one of the things, and I've said this numerous times on this show and to my friends, that my husband Dave will say to me, he'll say, Ginge, you have all this confidence for no good reason. I mean, for no good reason, you have all this confidence. And the reason he says that is because there's not a lot of things that I do well. What I do well, I really do well. But the things that I don't, decorating is one of those things. It just doesn't come naturally for me. But what I do know is I like to feel warm in my space. And so when you started to talk about this holistic approach to interior design, it really made sense to me, because it's really, to me, it's how you feel in the space. And to your point, it doesn't have to be just a lot of material things, but even we were talking just on the phone last night about making your space very functional for you. So kind of talk a little bit about that and what that means, because I thought some of the ideas that you had were genius.
Well, for instance, initially, and I've been married for 14 years, and I was divorced during the time of my corporate job, and I worked in a warehouse all day long. And then I decided it would be cool if I rented a really cool loft in the warehouse district. Well, then I realized, like, I'm working in a warehouse and I'm
You're
living in a warehouse. Like, it's just not cool, and it's not fun. Like, it's better to change up your environment. If you're working in a warehouse, then maybe go live somewhere a little bit more nurturing and with a little more texture in your environment. And so that's what I teach people about, and how they can do that in their home. I think everybody deserves to have a really great space.
Yes.
No matter what your home looks like, no matter what your socioeconomic level is. And I think that people get an idea that it's much more expensive than they need to invest to have a great space. And you can have a great space, and they just, very often people just need a little bit of guidance,
right,
and direction.
Well, I think one of the most important things that we learn as, I want to say, as we age, I mean, or maybe just as we get smarter, is that you realize you can't do everything. And you save time, you stop wasting your time that you could be using on income generating activities, or time that you could be spending with your family, and you utilize the strengths and the talents of other people. And not only do you save time, you save money. So, I mean, I'm a big I'm a big advisor of seeking out people that have the gifts and talents. And to your point, you should love where you live. You should love even your space. And I know we've got some incredible pictures.
Yeah, no, I can sort of narrate through those really quickly,
because I think it's important that people realize. I think that is the after picture.
It's the after picture. I think there's one before that.
Potentially a before picture of that. Ziggy's got it. I'm telling you what. Ziggy's the man.
He's on it.
He is. He's on it. We throw him curveballs.
Here's the before picture. And this is an example of, like, okay, we have a lot of bathrooms that look like this, I'm sure, right?
Right.
And the walls are at least painted, and the fixtures are lovely, but that's got that builder mirror, glued to the wall. That's very common. But if you go ahead, Ziggy, go to the next picture. But here, look at how simple this is to give your bathroom a spa feel. Now, wouldn't you feel better walking into that bathroom every morning?
Now let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. So I love the mirror. I love what you did with the mirror. Did you just put the frame around that mirror, or is it a whole new mirror?
No, it's so easy to reframe a builder mirror by, I have several resources that I can just make a frame and actually put it on your wall without having to take the mirror off. It's really economical.
That is so awesome. I love that.
Thanks.
I love that, because that is one of the things. I mean, recently Dave and I were potentially going to be moving into a new home, and thank heavens we didn't, because I really didn't want to.
I like your house.
But it was one of those things where what they charge you for that in a brand new home is cuckoo crazy.
Yeah, agreed. And it can be done so much more economically, like anywhere from actually $5 a linear foot. to like
Okay.
redo a mirror. It's not that bad.
Now I'm having Robin come over to my house.
And then you
okay?
add some art, and you add some plant, add some
Yes.
plant and art and some little spa accessories, and
And you're good to go.
and do you get it? You feel better.
You totally feel better. You totally feel better. Okay, let's look at the next space because I love all of these before and afters.
So this was a kitchen, and you can see they tried because we have above the cabinet accessories. We
They
did that
did
first,
try.
right? We did that first.
Yes.
I don't know why they did that 1st, but I guess people think, oh, if I do above the cabinet accessories, that'll make me feel better. But the reality is, the space still needed like furnishings, and it needed a warm touch. And it's a large kitchen, so we really wanted to make that a family gathering space for them. So here we go.
Oh, I love it.
So you can see we kept the above the cow. We kept her touches that she wanted to keep, and we added the darker wood. I like when the woods don't match.
Right,
There's
right.
some rule that people think that the woods need to match, and they don't.
No.
And then we just made some window treatments. She had a really nice view out there, so we just did toppers so it didn't interfere with her view, and made a little sitting over there by the one window. You can see how large the space is.
I
So
love that.
it was really a family gathering space. I like to use a rug in every room when you can, certainly when it makes sense. It's grounding.
Well,
As well as some plants, bringing the outside in.
What I love about that is, if we counted how many seats, look, you've got like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and to your point, that I don't care how big or small your home is, the kitchen is always the central gathering point.
I know.
I mean, it just is. And so it's almost like, forget the media room, forget the formal dining room, forget the formal living room. Just have one big, huge, massive kitchen area because that's where everybody goes all the time.
I think more and more, I'm getting more requests from families that like to have their ability to do craft projects there, homework, as well as eating and entertaining. And so the kitchen has become much more of a multifunctional space.
Right. Yeah, and I love that. Okay, let's look at the next before and after because it is amazing too. And to me, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that looks fine. You know what I mean? So Robin's probably like, no.
Well, I mean, it was workable.
Right.
It was workable. We did some changes. We changed out the sofa, and we left the lamps and the rug and some of the major accessories there. But she wanted purple. You could see the other picture. We had we left the draperies. She had those little half draperies, which work so fabulously. I love those. They're very stylish.
Right.
And she was not. She wasn't daring enough to like really go purple. And purple's a tough color because it's hard to decorate with. But she had the purple pillows, and it was like, you know what? Just go big or go home. So.
Let's go for it.
We went for it.
I love it. Okay, now where did you find that sofa?
We had one of her old sofas recovered.
Oh wow, that's so.
In like a purple velvet, like a low pile velvet plush. Looks really
so
nice.
let me ask you that: is it less expensive to do that than to get brand new furniture, or sometimes yes, sometimes no?
Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. It all
okay.
depends. If you have a good piece of furniture and it's quality,
Right.
You've got Ethan Allen and you've got furniture that you've had for a very long time, then it makes sense.
Right.
But if it's disposable furniture, which is what so many people do now, then it makes
how much does something like that cost to redo your couch like that?
And depending on the fabric that you select, generally fabric can run anywhere from $30 to $50 of upholstery fabric per yard.
Okay.
So, and then you pay for a label. To do that particular sofa was around $600.
Okay.
Well, that included the labor and it included the fabric. And, she got the exact color.
Yes.
Where we're going to find a purple sofa in that color, right?
Right. But you know what? That is a very good point, that if you've got something, whether it's a picture or whether it's a color or something that you want to match perfectly, that's a great option for somebody to do.
I think it's good to always start from an inspiration piece. And if your color is your inspiration, then you go with that. But some people have a really fabulous piece of art that they want to go with. And so then we can decorate around that too.
Okay, I love that. All right, let's see the next piece.
Okay. So this was obviously this is a home office, and to be honest, all of those built-ins were done at a builder. You've seen that
Right.
offices
Right.
that are builder done, but we just made the space really functional and homey, so it didn't look too sterile.
Oh, I love that.
Let's go back one more.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not an after pictures.
Okay.
Sorry, Ziggy.
Okay, so
It's a different picture.
Well,
So
I
we
get
added pillows with the leather, and I like when you can create texture. Certainly, there's some shininess in the lamp. There's
Oh,
lots of
yeah, I
different
see
woods. That the leather has a texture, the wood has a texture. The fact that the wood trim has depth and texture to it, and then you put some soft elements like pillows and plants, and it just makes it just makes your office. And this was for a woman and a man, a couple,
Right.
who share the space, and they wanted it to not be too masculine, not too feminine.
I think that's wonderful that they can share a space that close. Dave, I would want to kick him underneath the table and say,
Yeah, Chad and I own two businesses together, certainly, but we don't want to work that close.
right. I mean, it's funny because Dave, when there was a time when Dave was actually working out of the home, and I don't know if this has happened to any of you, and we had one office, and then we said, no, we have to make it a second office because we both had to have our own office. So whoever home office that is, I want to, give a salute and
They
take my
don't
hat off
actually
to them.
work from home. I think that makes a difference. If you want to have an office that you
I
pay
get
bills
it.
from, and it looks real, it's a whole different story.
That is a whole different story.
Right.
Now I get it. Now I get it. Okay, so but you do have another office, but this next picture is really of an office that's not a home office, correct?
Correct. And it goes to when I'm advising, I do like commercial work. And so when I'm advising people and places about environments that feed your employees' souls, look, there is the reality that there are just a lot of places that you must work in a cubicle.
Yes, you have to.
It's just a fact of life. But it's, and you've seen, cubicle cities, and I always advise if they can make the cubicles at least match and look cohesive and bring greenery in, and the proper lighting is so important about cubicle spaces. But allowing employees to be able to personalize their space, because I think it makes people feel more in control. I think it definitely adds to their sense of creativity and productivity.
Right.
If you're in a space that reflects who you are.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
Look how I saw a picture online of a person who's really, you ever go to this cartoon or those animation festivals? I mean, I've never been to one, but I've never been to one.
You mean one of the ones where they dress
like
up?
cosplay and
the ones where they dress up as stuffed animals?
or action figures.
Hey, what are they called? Comic-Con?
I think it's Comic-Con. Right, Ziggy?
Ziggy knows.
Cosplay.
They're called conventions, and the act of dressing up as characters is called cosplay.
Thank you. So I have a design.
Ziggy, how do you know all
it.
this? How do you know all this, Ziggy?
I'm a smart man.
You are. So I'm in a Facebook mastermind group for interior designers, and somebody recently posted a shot of that they helped somebody with their cubicle to make it more personal, because in their spare time, in their real life, they were doing conventions like this, but they wanted their workspace to look like that was outrageous. But I'll bet they felt really great when they went to work.
Exactly.
Because it felt authentic.
But, here's the thing is, you spend so much time at work. What is the percentage of time? Okay, let's ask Ziggy. Let's see if Ziggy knows, because I know Robin knows the answer to this. What's the percentage of time that you spend at work, Ziggy?
The average person or me?
I would say the average person, and then you. We want both answers.
Okay, probably like 40 and 80.
Okay, 40% of your time spent at work as an average person, and then 80% for Ziggy. And I'm going to vouch for the 80% for Ziggy.
Well, we actually spend 90% of our times indoors now.
Oh,
if you can imagine.
so
I mean, indoors we spend 90% of our
indoors.
time. Of that 90% of our time indoors, they estimate that 70% can be spent on work, at work. Think about it. It's work, it's commuting, it's many times you're bringing work home, and
that's true,
right?
Well, I think it's very important. I mean, I don't know about anybody else here, but I love for things to look pretty. I just and it does. You don't have to break the bank, but I love to just feel great. Like just even here at the studios, they've got this just really kind of pimped out, man. It's looking
No, it
good.
looks really great. It gets a designer's thumbs up.
It
for
is.
sure.
It's looking great, and you feel wonderful when you go in there. And again, I think that as a holistic interior designer, where you're looking at the person as a whole, what are some of the biggest tips that you can give somebody if they're interested in really kind of focusing on the experience instead of the stuff that's in their home?
I think that anytime that you can bring the outside in is a good idea.
I love that.
And maybe, I don't love fake plants, and I think that the designers would be split on this. I don't agree with a lot of fake greenery, but bringing in simple things that are easy. Succulents. That's I can't kill those.
Right.
That's one great place to start. And another great place to start is remembering places where you felt really fantastic. Do you go, like when I go on vacation, and you go somewhere and you walk into a lobby or the hotel room and you go, this is it. This really resonates with me. And if you can create that feeling of, I'm really there. I feel really peaceful, productive, whatever the feeling is you're going for, because it's different for everybody. Not everybody has to go for the exact same experience and the exact same feeling. So, I like to feel like I can cocoon. You spend it, especially if you have when I had a corporate job, I wanted to get home and feel re-energized.
Right.
So many people work all week long and then they feel depleted and they don't feel, they're not feeling authentic. You want to come home and feel authentic. So those are the advisements I give.
I love
what
that.
makes you feel authentic? What is making you and your family?
Okay, so I've done something right, and I didn't even know it. So I was down in Miami, not this last year for my birthday, but I will tell you, next year in 2019 for my birthday, I'm having a big birthday party in Miami. Everybody's invited. Ziggy, I hope you can get off work and join us because it's going to be a blast. But I walked into this spa, and I loved the way it smelled. I mean, it just smelled amazing. And so, of course, I had said, I love the way it smells. They say, well, hey, we've got the air freshener. And I bought some. And every time I spray it in my home, I think of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I didn't even know.
You're into the holistic principles.
I didn't even know what I was doing.
You totally were.
I was doing it.
And maybe if you'd have found a really great souvenir from there.
That's exactly.
Or something that reminds you of that place, and then you find a spot to make it work in your home. That's great. For instance, I have a client who travels a lot, and in her travels, she collects crosses from everywhere she's ever been. And incorporating those crosses in a really fantastic way in her home was tricky. They used to be spread out, and you'd have a few on the one wall and a few on another wall. And we pulled them all together and made a really fantastic gallery wall of crosses, and it turned out beautifully. And every time she passes that wall in her dining room,
yes,
she's reminded of all of her travels.
But and I think that is really that really opens up my mind, and I think it opens up to other people's minds that you really do want to take the experiences that you have, that you love, that you enjoy, and you do want to incorporate them into your home. How great is that? I've never even thought of that. Other than the little spray that I just accidentally did all on my own. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Well, to me, a lot of this goes along with my Ask Jen's question for the week. And my Ask Jen's question for the week is something that's, it's a very, to me, simple question. How do you stop wasting time? And my first answer is to prioritize. Prioritize what are the most important things that you need to be focused on, and make sure that you spend your time effectively, because a lot of things you don't need to be doing and you are wasting time. But the second thing is finding the right people to help you. So in my opinion, even what we're talking about right now can help people stop wasting time. You do the things that you do best and let other people do the things that they do best.
I agree.
Yes.
Of course,
100%.
needless to say, I would agree. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm walking the same talk, though.
Yes.
Because I'm hiring people who know more about their areas of specialties. We do plumbing well, but we're not electricians.
Right.
So there's a big difference. Is the number one time waster I see in my interior design business revolves around paint. How many? And it's the truth. I have been to clients' homes so many times where, or so many homes where a room has been painted more than once, and it's so frustrating for the client because they can't visualize it. I'm color. I have a color certification, so it helps me. But how cheap, much less expensive, less time consuming to hire somebody that can nail a color for you,
The first
help
time.
you nail a color for you, because every design decision is a color one first. And so, and each person reflects your exact sentiment of, oh my God, I can't believe how much time I wasted.
Yes,
not to
guilty.
mention the money,
I know. I was gonna
painting
say,
a room two or three times is time wasting.
I'm guilty as charged on that, on that one. And I have had professional painters come in, and I mean, I pick this color and I just think this is the best color, and they'll paint it, and then I walk in the room and I'm like, I don't like that. Can we change it?
I gotta tell you, it's not the painter though. Because right?
Fault. It was my fault because I picked the wrong color because I did it all on my own.
I'm the painter.
I did it all on my own, and that was probably the last time I did that, because I've done it several times, Robin. I mean, I just have, but probably the last time I did that was maybe 4 years ago, and that's when I said, I'm not going to do that. And this is the thing that's so crazy, Robin, you're going to kill me, but the painter recommended I did not use that color. That first one I said.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, so listen, don't listen to me, listen to her when it comes to making the best choice with your design. So I'm super excited. And if people are interested in reaching out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I have a new website called Robin Hebert Interiors. They can certainly take a look at that, and they can feel free to email me at Robin Hebert.
And that's Hebert.
Yep, looks like Hebert .com at Verizon.net. Sorry,
Okay,
Robin
I love that.
Hebert at Verizon.net.
And we'll definitely make sure that we put that in the comment section, because
Thanks.
I do think that people, they don't realize how much money they can save to have somebody else that's a professional that does it. And you've had so many certifications, and it's just what you do. It's a gift you have, and I know that you love doing it.
I do. I really do.
And then she'll pour a glass of wine or champagne or something for you afterwards. I mean,
Absolutely.
I've known her to do that before. So we are going to jump into our Laughter is the Best Medicine videos, and I have more than one. And
Good.
Robin, I love it because Robin knows my kids, and she really doesn't even know how crazy they are, but they are silly and they are crazy. So a few weeks ago, my son, who's 20, came in town from college. My son, who's 18, came home from college. I have 3 biological children, and then I have 2 bonus children. And this weekend that we had them come in, I had picked the boys up from the airport. We went and we met my daughter at a Mexican restaurant, and we were sitting there and we were eating. And the 18-year-old and the 22-year-old, they were giving the 20-year-old the hardest time. My 18 and 22-year-old, they're very in shape, and they've always been athletic, and they work out. And so they're giving my middle son a really hard time, saying, Brady, you're not athletic. You're not in shape. And Brady just, he kept eating his food, and he just kind of let it just roll off his back, duck water off the duck's back. And he said, well, I bet I could beat Berkeley at a race. I bet I could beat Berkeley at this. I bet I could beat Berkeley at that. And Berkeley was a level 5 cheerleader, gymnast. I mean, amazing. And so all weekend long, they were giving Brady a hard time. And so at the end of the weekend, they decided to put their money where their mouth is. And so let's roll the first clip, Ziggy. This is when they were preparing for the event, and you can see what Brady's whole philosophy on what was transpiring is.
Here's the pre-warm-up there. Brady, what are you doing for your pre-warm-up?
Doing a little stretches, little A skips, a little B skips, you know? We got Berkeley out here.
There's Berkeley.
I was thinking Berkeley's a very athletic woman, but at the end of the day,
Berkeley's doing her warm-up.
she is a woman, right? And I am a man.
Berkeley's doing her warm-up. This is
the whole thing.
This is the pre-contest here.
Hey, Berkeley, you got this? You got this one? I didn't know we were playing football.
Okay, so what was hysterical about that is, we weren't 100% sure what the outcome was going to be. And when Brady was doing his warm-up, he kind of like rolled his ankle a little bit. So Berkeley and I are laughing, and we're like, okay,
Would have been a good excuse, though.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're going to start the little contest here.
And Brady, y'all do your one-legged squats. Brady can do his. Berkeley can do hers. Woo! Okay.
Right. So, obviously, they both have some core strength there.
Yeah.
They're showing you how strong their legs are. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what happens next.
Brady.
Do this. Do this. Do this. Get a little. When was the last time you seen that?
Berkeley, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so now I am going to have to give it to Brady. He probably beat the flexibility contest. He's very flexible, and I don't recommend anybody trying to do that little exercise at home. But now here comes the big race. Berkeley and I still thought that there was a potential that it could go our way. Okay, so I was basically almost peeing my pants because we were laughing so hard. And the reason for that is because our middle child who you saw win, he's such an underachiever. I don't think
My money was on Berkeley.
I know. I don't think Brady has ever run that fast his whole entire life. And that's when we decided that he is a way underachiever in every aspect of his life. He's got way more talent. He's just not using it. And but here's the thing. We still have one more race that we're going to do, and I'm going to put them both on the treadmill, and we're going to see how long it takes them to run a mile. And my money's on Berkeley. Berkeley's going to win. It's going to be 2-2, and so it's going to be even Steven. So the verdict is not out yet on who wins that, but I'm really, really excited for our laugh challenge that's going to be coming up. So for those of you out there that are silly, you're funny, I'm going to be giving you some silly, funny things to do, and you're going to videotape them. We're going to have a laugh challenge, and we're just going to have a blast while we do it. So be on the lookout. Just know you're going to have some silly, funny things that I'm going to have you doing, and please do them. So, and I might even have Robin do some of these crazy, silly things, and she'll be up for it.
I'm ready.
She'll be up for it.
Oh, I'm up for
silly. She'll totally be up for it. So, Robin, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much
Had
for
a
having
blast.
me.
Definitely. And for those of you who would like to get in touch with Robin again, please do. And we'd love to see your before and after pictures, and come back. If you've enjoyed this, please share it with friends, with your family. Let us know some of your questions for Ask Jens. Please send them in. If you have videos, do that as well. If you got Laughter is the Best Medicine videos, or if you just see something online that you think is hysterical, send it to me. We'll show it to you, and show it to everybody, and we will give you credit. So until we meet again next Monday at 3 p.m., be big, be bold, and be you. Bye-bye.